Different types of sama or whirling. From our previous programs, it is clear that in Iran there were different types of sama or whirling. As stated previously, sama means listening, and it relates to listening to type of music that creates inner vibrations within the body of the listener. Also, as it was stated, the sound waves that vibrate air molecules can only be heard by our ears if they fall within the audible range of our ears. But this does not mean that our heart or brain are not affected by the sounds or vibrations that fall outside of the audible frequencies of our ears, as these sounds affect our heart and brain because they carry inner vibrations. So sama relates to listening to sounds that directly affect our heart and brain and not our eardrums. In this context, it is important to understand the phenomenon of resonance, where one, for example, vibrates a metal string by pulling it, and thereby causing a parallel, non-connected wire to vibrate at the same frequency. The same phenomenon can be felt when you have two percussion instruments like dafs facing each other. Then, when one of the dafs is played, the same vibrations can be felt by touching the skin of the opposite daf, which is not being played. Also, the vibration one feels by touching the skin of the daf, then through one's fingers, is also felt by our brain, through our nervous system. These vibrations then go on to stimulate our endocrine system, which then produces hormones that affect our heart. So even if we shut our ears completely, so we can't hear anything, through this process, by touching the skin of the daf, we can sense the vibrations that then go on to affect our brain and our heart. This process is known as inner vibration, as it is the effects of sounds we can't hear by our ears, but nevertheless affect our brain and our heart. Yet the type of hormone and its effect on our brain and heart is a function of the wavelength and the frequency of the sound. Therefore, some sounds can create stress and anxiety, while others create deep silence and peace. These different effects relate to the wavelength and frequency of the sound and the subsequent hormone that is produced in our body. The process of altering inner states of a person through creation of inner vibrations by recitation or playing music to an ecstatic state is known as sama. Now, there are many sounds that excite or energize the solar plexus, or what is referred to as ruh bukhari or astral body, that make the body whirl. In such cases, we have three types of whirling. One is the sama that exists in Tibetan yoga practices, which was described in our previous program. The second sama is the whirling of the Sufis within the Khorasan province, which was then exported to other regions of the world, which has become so well known that it is simply referred to as Sufi sama. But in reality, Sufi sama is not purely whirling, as other types exist, as there is also another sama which is popular in the old gymnasiums, where the reciter plays special rhythms that create inner vibrations on a large percussion instrument, as he recites mystical poetry. Then a person stands in the middle of the gymnasium and starts to whirl, and as the reciter speeds up his rhythmic playing, the person speeds up his whirling, in response to the effects of inner vibration within his body. The whirling of this person is synchronized with the rhythmic playing of the reciter, who is also called a murshid. Murshid is responsible for managing the sama and the speed of the rotation of the whirler, through the speed of his rhythmic playing, and at the same time he or she also manages the evolution or the growth of the whirler. Therefore, we notice in Iran there have always existed three types of whirling: the whirling of the Sufis of Khorasan, the whirling of Tibetan yoga practitioners, and the whirling in gymnasiums under the management of murshids. All three types have a different goal and method, and each have a different effect on the body, all of which will be discussed in future programs.
شرف و اسمت I think